Hello, everyone. Welcome to Developing Palates. I am Aaron Loomis, coming to you from the Ventura Cigar Company studio, and with me today is June Liu. How you doing, June?
Doing good.
So today we are talking about the 2012 by Oscar Barber Pole. Cigar is a Toro 6-inch by 52 ring gauge. Comes out of the Oscar Valladares factory in Honduras. Wrapper is Candela and Mexican San Andres. The binder is from Nicaragua, and the filler is from Honduras and Nicaragua. Blended by Oscar himself. The price point is $8.95, and the cigar was released in December of 2017. So with all that out of the way, June, what was your smoking experience like?
Um, First third, I immediately noticed a very creamy, like a candy-like consistency to it. Kind of perhaps similar to caramel. Drying wood, hay, leather, nuts. When I retrohaled, it brought spice into the portfolio. So black pepper spice and more of the same like nuts and hay notes. Finished pretty earthy with dry wood and faintly like a bitter nuts. Strength of body for the most part medium. Moving on to that second third, I felt like the flavors brought it into more focus. Notes became more distinct, fuller. Um, what especially that creaminess and sweetness, like that caramel note that I had, um, just further accentuated. Graphite minerality started coming into the picture. So that really helped with more earthiness in the cigar. That minerality, especially, worked really well with the leather notes. So anytime I have a cigar, that's kind of like I get a lot of minerals and I get leather. For some reason, those two notes just work really well for me. Strength creeping towards medium full, body maintains medium. In the last third, that sweetness, creaminess started kind of fading out. Shifted to more like mainly a story like minerals and leather. Minerals also now pretty prevalent on the finish with that same dry wood and the bitter nuts. Strength a little above medium and body right at medium. In terms of construction, I rate it to be the burn to be good, which is two notches below our perfect score. So basically, what that means is it was a good burn, but it could use some help, right? So two relights due to tunneling was the main issue. Other than that, burn tip was cool, relatively sharp burn line, fairly short half-inch ash retention. In terms of draw, perfect. Great resistance, great airflow, so no issues on the draw.
Yeah, for me, the cigar started out with a mix of cocoa, cream, and baking spice. A quarter inch in or so, the wood takes over most of that cocoa. Cream and the baking spice are still present there. An inch in, the wood was kind of up front with the cream slightly behind it. Baking spice was really faint in the background. Retro Hill is primarily wood, a little bit of creaminess. At an inch and a quarter, a little bit of a vegetal note kind of paired up with that wood. And as the third was coming to a close, kind of remained that primarily wood that was paired with a slight vegetal note along with a little bit of cream and very subtle baking spice. Strength was right at medium in that first third. Second third, cream begins to increase, as does the overall smoke production. Wood's still an important player. Vegetal note still in there. A little bit further in, a fair amount of black pepper joins in with the cream and the creamy wood and the vegetal note. Actually, the vegetal note kind of dropped out there about a half inch in. And an inch in, the vegetal note returned. Pepper kind of eased back a little bit. As the third was coming to a close, the profile became a little bit drying as the cream receded. Wood was up front, still carried a little bit of that vegetal note. Strength bumped up to slightly above medium. In the final third, the cream came rushing right back in, kind of mixed with the wood and the dry earthiness. A little bit of char came in about a half inch in. Cream kind of remained as a supporting note. And then about an inch in, a little bit of bitterness kind of joined in with that charred wood and the cream. And then the bitterness subsided about an inch and a half in. Charred wood was still up front. Cream wasn't very far behind that. Retrohale was a little bit of a musty wood, along with a little bit of cream. And the strength kind of finished out at that slightly above medium mark. Regards to the burn, a little bit wavy the entire way. Needed a little bit of a touch up at the end of the second third. But for a barber pole, I mean, that's pretty good. Ash held on about inch and a quarter increments. And I thought the draw was perfect, just the right amount of resistance I prefer, so no issues with that. So overall, what were your thoughts on this one?
Um, I Barber poles are interesting. They always look intriguing, right? especially when you go mix a Candela and a Mexican San Andreas wrapper, right?
Right.
Um, but I have no real expectations of what it should taste like. Um, I it's unique because when I look at the way I think about cigars is when I look at a wrapper or when I read a wrapper, I associate it with certain type of notes that I feel like I should be getting.
Right.
But with something like this, um, I don't have a gauge point of that at all. And it's kind of weird because when I was thinking about Candela, usually I get like you get a lot of vegetable notes, you get a lot of like hay notes and that kind of thing. I do anyways. And I mix in San Andreas, I think about sweetness, raisins, things of that nature. But that all that goes out the window with this barber pole because I don't really know.
Yeah.
But within the cigar, I like the flavors. I like the caramel. I like the dry wood, leather, minerals, nuts. Those are the main notes that I got out of it. So I overall enjoyed that journey of like sweetness to earthiness and back and forth. And I would smoke it again, but it's this is another one of those cigars that's released where I feel like it's a good cigar, but nothing to like get all crazy and jumpy about.
Yeah, I think kind of going along with what you talked about being intriguing is a lot of people also think of the barber poles as a gimmick cigar, right? So,
Mm.
just kind of for looks, it's going to lure you in, but does it deliver on flavor? I don't think this is a gimmicky cigar. I mean, I think the flavor is good enough that it's a good cigar regardless of what it looks like, profile is wood, cream, a little bit of baking spice. I got a little bit of cocoa early on. I wish that was more prevalent, more through the cigar. I mean, that's kind of one of the flavors that I associate with San Andreas. Um, I did get some of those vegetal notes in there that, typically like you mentioned from the Candela stuff. So that was pretty nice. I think this is a cigar that's going to do well. I mean, I know it was exclusive for the cigar shop in North and South Carolina. Um, but I think it's going to end up being a more widespread release further on down the road. So, I mean, if you like Candela, if you like Mexican San Andres, if you're open to going both ways, if you want to say it that way, I mean, you can give this a try. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a good cigar, so I think it's well worth giving it a try. So, getting the scores, you gave it a 6.97. I gave it a 6.7. You gonna be able to make it the rest of the way, June?
So
All right, 6.97 for you, 6.72 for me. How do you think that matched up with your experience?
Uh, well, get DP by both a dude and a girl, or whatever.
Right.
It matched up well. I said the flavors overall good. Burn had issues, so I dropped that 2 notches down, a perfect score. Uh, Amazing draw. So, it didn't hit that 7 mark quite there yet because of the burn issues that I had. But overall, it's a good tasting cigar. I smoke it again.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, the score matches up well for me. I thought the final third kind of finished out average. While the first 2 thirds were good. Construction was really good. Overall, I thought the cigar was good. So that matches the score there for me. So I don't really have anything negative to say really about this cigar. So, any other final thoughts from you on this one?
No, I kind of hope they just like run with this, right? Like Oscar just goes ape shit and just do a ton of different barber poles with the same fillers and binders, and I want to see how different it may be.
Yeah, that'd be a good thing. Maybe we just
You know?
see him in Vegas and you can
Yeah,
drop that one on him and see what he says. That'd be
for
cool.
sure.
All right, if you're just catching this video on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to us, but also check out the full written review on the website, developingpalates.com. Be sure to follow us on all the social media channels, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Google+. And you can catch all of our review recaps on podcasts, so iTunes, Google Play, and Podbean. Thank you for tuning in, and we will catch you on the next one.